One, it's Movie Lover 120 here, and I am here with episode 10 of this series. And this episode, for the movie I'm going to be reviewing, is of course one I am so excited to talk about, and that is Sam Raimi's The Evil Dead, easily one of my all-time favorite horror movies. Even though, for those who don't know, I love the Evil Dead series. They're some of the best horror movies ever. Evil Dead 2, I think, is easily the best one, which I will review next week. But, so anyway, what is this movie about? Well, we all know in the summer of 1999, a group of Detroit friends with $375,000 raised from local investors headed for a cabin outside of Morrison, Tennessee, to make a film about 5 costumes passed by an ancient Book of the Dead. The filmmaker's goal is to create the ultimate experience of grueling terror. A movie so relentless that it would stand forever as a landmark in modern horror history. When it was released in 1982, it was immediately recognized worldwide as one of the most ferociously original films ever made. Legendary film that launched the careers of Raimi, producer Robert Tepper, and star Bruce Campbell, who plays the iconic character of Ash Williams, who became one of a staple character in horror movie history. Unleashed an unprecedented army of privileged screwheads upon the world and changed the face of horror forever. Now, this is just an absolute blast to watch. And I thought, well, it's got incredible special effects for both the gore and the creatures. Ash is a very likable and sympathetic horror protagonist. Unlike a lot of horror movie characters, you actually really care for him. You even feel bad for what's happening to him in the movie. And you actually really want him to survive. An amazing soundtrack. The movie utilizes the Necronomicon in the plot, which is a book which says they possess the powers to raise the dead. Great acting by everyone, especially Bruce Campbell as Ash Williams. Sam Raimi uses his revolutionary character techniques, which he later used in his infamous Spider-Man movies, which I do own back there, and they're also good, except for the third one, but that was a Raimi's fault, we all know. And it's a very excellent black comedy. And in fact, it's even pretty scary at times too, because this is probably the only one to be considered a really more of a horror film, with a few comedy elements thrown in it. But, however, mostly today, it's kind of more of a goofy film today. I'm sure back then it was obviously a really straight-up horror film when it first came out, but the bad qualities would be, while Ash is likable and sympathetic, he's not as cool or badass as in the much better in the sequels anyways, but yeah, I'm not going to talk about the sequels. For a film that was shot with only $375,000, I think it did everything perfectly. And it even made such an impact that we all know that it got 2 sequels, and of course, were also really good. And it got a remake in 2013, which is okay, really, but it's fine for a remake. But I wouldn't really call it a legendary film like a lot of sites like WatchMojo like to call it. But, however, this is pretty much, after this film and the 2 sequels, Sam Raimi would go on to be a very masterful director. He directed the Sam Raimi directed the whole Spider-Man trilogy, which basically reinvented the whole Marvel, and technically helped. He kind of did help invent the MCU in kind of a way. Yeah, really. He actually kind of, in a way, did. With those films. So, he also directed Drag Me to Hell, which is also a pretty good film. It has some of the which also has some of the Evil Dead campiness in it. Directed a film called Darkman. I haven't seen it, but for it's actually still pretty decent for what it is. And he did produce a few horror films as well, but are not really good, really. He did produce the remake of The Grudge, but The Evil Dead trilogy and Drag Me to Hell are his best horror films, easily. He even is, I forget what else I was going to say, but back when it was first released, it was still critically praised when it came out, and it still is today, and for very good reason. This is, of course, a very masterful film that did so little with the money it had, and it did it all very amazingly. And I remember around this time, a theater near my area re-released a movie with a new score. I went to see it that night, and it was very epic. Actually watching Evil Dead on the big screen, and seeing a new score added to some of the scenes, it and a new 4K resoluted cut of the film. It was very good, and I loved getting to actually see the film in theaters. But for those of you that obviously do know, I do like Evil 2 more. Dead 2 more. It's actually a horror sequel that does not suck. It's actually even better than the first one. In heck, you don't even need to watch the first one if you want to watch Evil Dead 2. Because it kind of has a new revised recap in kind of a way. But this is still a really good movie. I definitely still recommend checking it out if you want to get interested in horror films. It's a masterpiece from start to finish. It's one of my favorite horror movies of all time, and it's also one of my favorite movies of all time. So you want to know how I'd rank it? Well, here's the ranking I would give it. I am going to give The Evil Dead a 9 out of 10. And that's it. That officially wraps up my review for The Evil Dead. So, with that being said, I will put this movie back in there. And here's a movie I am going to be reviewing next. I'm pretty sure a lot of you have obviously seen. And I'll just get it out. Alright. These are hard movies to get out, but the next movie I am going to be reviewing next in episode 11 of this series is, of course, the 2017 movie. That will be the next episode. So yeah. Thank y'all for watching this, guys. That'll be it for this video. Thank y'all for watching. And if you like this and want some more, then don't forget to like and subscribe to Movie Lover 120.